When you refuse to do the work, you are only depriving your generations unborn. You are only depriving them. And I've said, to be able, for this gift, for this talent, to bear much fruit, you have to go into your past. A lot of people in church who don't want to even deal with the issues that happened when they were young. How are you going to grow spiritually? Because those things that happened in the past, sometimes the devil sets up scenarios and situations to make sure you are hurt so much, you are traumatized when you are young, so that he will block what you are supposed to be when you grow up. So you find people who carrying that thing, who are not who have that issue, and what that thing does, the trauma, the pain, the hurt, the difficult time you went in when you were young, some kind of maltreatment and abuse you face even from family, even from where you were raised. Sometimes the enemy orchestrates those things because he knows what kind of gift and talent you have and the power in it. So in his way, that is how he blocks and stops you from doing the work, because he knows when you do the work and you avail yourself, when you allow yourself, you are going to what? You are going to reserve certain things for the generation unborn. You are going to stop him from having access to the bloodline. A lot of people are in church. They don't want to deal with what happened yesterday. They don't want to deal with the pain, the trauma, the abuse, the molestation, the rape. You don't want to deal with it. You have to go back. You have to make peace with that. You have to make peace with that. You have to go back. A lot of people don't want to. You see, when that happens, people don't want to go back anymore. And they do whatever in their ability to make sure they never go back. You are only blocking yourself. You see, if you don't go to the past and make peace with all those things that happened, it wasn't your fault. Some of you were not protected by parents. Some of you was your steps that did those things to you. You see, you have to go back and then deal with that issue. Now, after dealing with the issue, what it does is what? It allows you to what? Forgive whoever did it, why they did it, intentional, not intentional. It allows you to forgive. Now, when you forgive with that issue, when you forgive those who caused that problem in your life, and you deal with what really you have become as a result of that, if you go back, deal with it, and you are able to look at it closely, go through the motions of all of that, and you put that issue to rest, it will then allow you to forgive those who did it. If you don't go back and deal with them, you are also going to continue in that energy. And this is one of the things I've realized is, whatever was done to you in the past, if you don't go back, do the work, address the issue of the past, some way, somehow, anybody that doesn't want to go to the past and deal with that problem becomes a person that repeats that same problem on other people, on your children. It's very dangerous. This is the trap of the enemy. It's a vicious cycle that keeps repeating itself. If you look closely at some families, some bloodline, you realize a certain pattern that keeps repeating itself. It's because people don't want to go back there, don't want to look at what happened to them in their childhood and deal with the problem. You have to deal with it. After dealing with it, you see, all of these things I'm telling you, I'm telling you because this is what God is pushing me to share today. If you go back to the past and deal with the problem, it will allow you to forgive. First thing. You see, if you want to heal, healing will not happen in the absence of forgiveness. When When you go there, deal with the issue, look at what happened, do that happen, and you say, oh, you did this, you did that, I've forgiven you. Thank God for my life. You put me through all this, but I've forgiven you. Once you're able to do that, you are able to what? Heal. Until you heal, this tree cannot bear fruit good enough to help or benefit somebody. And all that, God is watching believers, is watching his children to be able to go back in the past and address some of these issues. I've spoken to you about a personal relationship with God. If you have a personal relationship with God, you come to him in prayer and say, God, this is what happened, that is what happened. They did this, they did that, they did this. That was done to me, that was done to me, that was done to me, this was done to me. So help me. God, help me. You need the help of God. You need the help of God. The reason why we see some of these negative traits and tendencies in people, some of them in church, because they wanted help. Some churches are providing help, others are not. Some of these things these things about dealing with the pain, the trauma, and the hurt of a childhood. This is one of the major reasons why people are in church, but they are carrying very strange, what do we call it? They are carrying very strange and very evil, attitudes. Though they are in church, they are there's something else. But the church is not supposed to be a place like that. The church is supposed to be a place of love, of peace. The church is supposed to be a place where people find help. So some of these things, if the church has a counseling or a way to help people, encourage people to deal with some of these things in their past and forgive. People don't know how to forgive. And this is a problem. If you don't know how to forgive, the devil will use your inability to forgive to block yourself. And you will go round and round and round in circles and you don't know what is going on. It's because that your inability to forgive has opened the doors to the enemy to step in and to use you against yourself. I'm telling you. Until you do the work, and that's what I'm talking about, doing the work. Until you go to the past and decide that I want to be healed. This happened 10 years ago. This happened 20 years ago. This happened 30 years ago. But I'm sick and tired of carrying this garbage. I want to throw this somewhere and move on. I want to move on. I want to see progress. I want to grow spiritually. You can't grow spiritually if you don't deal with this problem. It will block you. It is going to block you. So if you see a lot of people who are not really growing spiritually, a lot of the time, there is a blockage. And this blockage I'm talking about, it comes from the heart. It comes from the heart. If you are going to grow spiritually, it's going to come from the heart. If the heart has not been put in a posture to receive, whatever sermon they are preaching there on the pulpit is going down the drain. Until the heart is put in a posture to receive a lot of the advice, a lot of the things, like what I'm saying here. If you have not put your heart in a posture to receive, to learn, a lot of the things you have watched on this channel, you probably have not done anything with it. You have not even changed 1% since you came to this channel, since you heard some of these things I've said. These things I've said that are inspired by the Holy Spirit. You have not even changed 2%. You have not even changed 3%. All the things you've watched, all the videos you've watched me release, you have not changed. And sometimes the devil does that intentionally. To take control of you, he blocks you. He blocks you, and then he puts deception over there. When you succumb to the deception of the enemy, he is able to use you, manipulate you, and control you with his controllers. It's very important. God is the one apportioning and giving the promised land. Everyone has a promised land. It's for you and generations unborn. So imagine if we can get a lot of believers to go back into their past, to deal with what happened in the past, to be able to forgive, so that their hearts will be open. They will have a heart of flesh. They have prayed to God, so God is assisting them. The Holy Spirit is there to encourage them, and they turn. And that is when people turn a new